Hi, it's Mark Samoida with Curious Inventions. All right, so we have our app, and we saw how we can run it and click on the button, and our label here, Hello World, changes. You click the button. Let's pull up that code. As you can see right here, we took this text and assigned it to our hello text block. And this is a method that executes when we click on the button. So let's make this do a little bit more. Now I'm assuming that people watching this have very little programming experience, if any. So I'm going to get really simple here and go into the concept of a variable. But first of all, one thing I want to do is take a text box from our toolbox on the left and drop that into our XAML file here. Let's see. Just resize it. Bigger here. Okay, so this is our text box, and we'll give it a name. We'll call it, let's call it name equals, and we'll call it output for now. So if we run it, let's see what we got. Okay, so now we have our text box, that's fine. Let's get rid of that text in there. One way to get rid of it is to look at our text box element down here, and we have text equals text box. We'll just delete that, and it's gone. Okay, so let's go back to the code. Remember when we clicked the button, we had an event wired up called button click 1. Let's go to that code here, and we'll actually delete this line. Or actually, let me comment it out. I'll go // and a comment, it leaves the line there, but it won't be executed by the computer. So let's do something with our new text box that's called output. Let's say output text, and that refers to the text inside our output element. Plus equals more text. So what this is going to do is it's going to take this string called more text and shove that into our output.text. Let's just watch it and see what happens when that runs. So we click the button, and as we click the button, it shows more text showing up over and over and over. Okay, so let's go back, and one thing that we can do is we can put a /n. /n stands for new line. Put a space there too. So we have a new line, and then we'll say more text. Let's run that. So as we click the button, now we have a new line before it prints out more text. Alright, so let's look exactly what this is doing. It's taking our output, and our output is, you know, this big text box up here with the name output. And this text box has an attribute called text. When we start, it's set to blank. But as we click our button, this executes, and it says, okay, our output text attribute, also called the property, plus equals means we're going to add this to what already exists in our text. So every time we click the button, it'll print out a new line and more text. We could also put the new line at the end. Say more text /n. So we'll run it, and that's exactly what we get. Okay, so I want to introduce the concept of a variable. Oh, by the way, this happens to me a lot. changes are not allowed while code is running. So you got to make sure you shut down the debugger. Okay. So I want to show you the concept of a variable. A variable is a little piece of information that's stored, somewhere in your source code. Like anything in double quotes like this is called a string. So let's create a variable called a string. It's a string, and as you can see, it's blue, which means it's a special word, and we'll call it S. So now we have a string called S, and S is called a variable. It's called a variable because its value can change. It can vary from one string to another. So now we can say S equals hello. So now the variable S will be equal to the word hello. And down here we'll put output.text plus equals S. So instead of typing a string down here, we can just use the variable instead. So let's run this and see what happens. As we click the button, we get the word hello showing up. So we have the same problem as before. One way to fix it with the new lines is to put a /n within our variable S. Let's see if that works. Yep, now hello shows up on a new line each time. Another way we can fix it, instead of putting the \n within our variable, we can add a plus \n here. So now it'll set the text to S, which is hello, plus it will also it'll add in the new line character. Let's make sure that works. So we are getting the new line. That's good. Now you can have more than just one string. Let's create another string. Oh, told you that happens a lot. We'll create another string called, let's just call it X. And let's say X equals there. So S will be hello with the space after it, and then X is there. We can do an S plus X plus a new line. So now we have two strings, and we're going to add S, hello, and then we're going to add X, which is there, and then a new line. And this is going to execute every time we click our button. And it works. Okay, now to make this a little bit simpler, we can this is called an assignment operator. We're assigning the word hello to the variable S. But normally what you see is, we'll take it out of here. Oh, always do that. Copy it out of here and we'll paste it right up here where we define the variable. And this will work exactly the same way. And we can do the same thing with X. And this just makes it a little bit simpler and cleaner, being able to define our variables and set them immediately. And we'll just run it to make sure it works the same way. And it does. Alright, so that's an introduction to what a variable is. It's a value that can change. It can vary. One more thing I can show you is, So we have s equals hello. But later on in the code, we can change it. S equals bye. So if we print out S down here with the new line, we assign hello to S, but then we immediately reassign it the word bye. So let's make sure that works. Yep, and we get a bunch of byes. So always remember, when you assign a variable, if you reassign it, it's going to overwrite the value that was in there before.